Good afternoon or evening or morning, everybody. For Saturday, November the 26th, 2011, this is A Book and a Martini. My name is Hubert O'Hearn, and this is a Martini. Cheers. I haven't shot one of these in a while, but honestly, it's snowing like hell here in Thunder Bay, Ontario today, so I thought I'd stay indoors and let's talk about some books. I had a couple of ideas of what to do. I thought about doing a Books of the Year, but I've already written 3 of those on novels, nonfiction, and what I call curiosities. You can read all those at buythebookreviews.blogspot.com. I'll put the URL down in the notes for you. So, what I thought about talking to you about today is a theme: Occupy. I've gotten involved in Occupy. I hope you've gotten involved in Occupy, but you still do hear people saying that. So, what's this Occupy thing all about? Why are these people so upset? And I thought I'd share with you 6 books. In general, about the origins of it, what people are so upset about, and some possible solutions to the problems of the world. First one, Occupy started, and at its heart of it is Occupy Wall Street, about the grotesque financial bailout of the big Wall Street banks paid for by the taxpayer. And I want to refer you first to John Lanchester's IOU. This book came out in 2010. Lanchester is based out of the UK. He writes for The Guardian, among other publications, also the New Yorker and London Review of Books. This is an exceptional book on the origins of the crisis. Where's the camera? There it is. Okay. Give that a read, and you'll understand how the whole bailout crisis happened through the development of hedge funds, and how the banks, honestly, I don't know how Goldman Sachs is still even in existence, in terms of inventing these poisoned financial instruments and selling them off, not only to individuals like you and me, but also to governments. A large part of the financial crisis that Europe is in right now is because countries like Greece bought these poisoned instruments. So that's the financial end. Lanchester is very readable. He's not a highly technical writer, although all the facts, all the numbers are in there. You'll enjoy it. It's a good read. But there's more to it than that. Undoubtedly, you've seen the abuses perpetrated on various occupiers, being pepper sprayed, a veteran of the Iraq War injured on the ground, having a flash bomb thrown in his face. The power elites are absolutely opposed to Occupy. Anything that might possibly shake their position, they will attack, and attack viciously. The best author on that, and do look up a website called TruthDig, one word, truthdig.com. Chris Hedges. Yeah, I'm really good at figuring out where the camera is, huh? This is The World as It Is, his most recent compilation of editorials and articles. Hedges goes into much more than the financial end, although he does on that as well. Also healthcare, the problems of politics, international problems, the abuse of the Palestinians by Israel. Excellent book. You will feel very upset, you'll feel very angry by the time you're done it. What you'll also realize is that people like the Tea Party actually have more in common with Occupy than the Tea Party at least is willing to admit. People see that the world is not operating right, but there are problems, and they know that they need to be fixed. Okay. The other book about the problem end of things, is one of the most recent books I reviewed, again at buythebookreviews.blogspot.com. Amy Goodman, Breaking the Sound Barrier. This one came out in 2009. They're very, very short editorials and commentaries that Amy wrote for Democracy Now! And in specific, they can be found at democracynow.org. Amy Goodman is a new hero of mine. Again, I ran into her on truthdig.com, and I saw her interviewed, along with Chris Hedges by Charlie Rose. This is an incredibly courageous journalist, ladies and gentlemen. She's been beaten. She's been arrested. Her producers have had their noses broken, not overseas. This is in the United States, while covering the Republican National Convention in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2008. She does outrage very well. Even more than Chris Hedges. She's able to use great journalism in terms of tying very complicated issues onto real people. For instance, on health care, where a senator from Montana, who chaired the Senate Finance Committee by the name of Max Baucus, took millions and millions of dollars from the healthcare industry, and as such, he did not allow witnesses for a single-payer system, the Canadian system, to appear before the Senate Finance Committee. Other great thing about Amy, and I regret saying this, I truly do, is that she saw through Barack Obama before most of the rest of us. Barack Obama is the finest moderate Republican to serve in the White House since Gerald Ford. That's my opinion. I'm not quoting Amy on that. So, lots and lots of problems in the world, and that's why people have hit the streets. But had a fellow comment on my wall on Facebook the other day. Well, it's been 60 days since this whole Occupy thing started. Why don't they just put out their program, and call it a day? Solving the problems of the world doesn't generally happen in 60 days or less. You're talking about finance, the illegal surveillance of citizens, the castration of the political process, certainly its abduction by money. Lots and lots of problems. The problems of globalization, jobs going away, and oh, by the way, the environment isn't particularly doing well. What are we going to do about all this? First of all, you may want to go back to 1933 in terms of the financial end. Read The Hellhound of Wall Street. I have pushed this book on people before. It's by Michael Prio, who's a professor of law at St. John's University. Here again, this is a very readable book, and it's about Ferdinand Pecora, who was given 6 weeks at the end of a lame duck Congress in 1932 leading into 1933, a Republican Senate committee, by the by, that decided that why are all these bank failures happening, and they hired Pecora to investigate the banks. Because of that, because of what Pecora did, you had the Securities and Exchange Commission set up in the U.S. and the Glass-Steagall Act, which stopped the kind of two-handed trading where a bank could invent an instrument like a hedge fund and then sell it off to its customers. Okay? In a lot of ways, the heart of the problem is right there. They had it all solved in 1933 until, unfortunately, it pains me to say this, but Bill Clinton, under the advice of Robert Rubin, former executive at Goldman Sachs, had Glass-Steagall overturned. If they just go back to the laws of 1933, that solves one hell of a lot of problems. Cheers. But there's more to it than that. There's going to be a new economy, and there are two books in particular that I want to turn your attention to for that, for things that you can actually do in your neighborhoods, in your cities, through your city councils. First, book by Ken Greenberg called Walking Home: The Life and Lessons of a City Builder. Greenberg is an architect who doesn't just design gas stations and office towers. No, he designs cities. He was the city planner for the city of Toronto, which is one of the few large cities that actually works. And it's about building neighborhoods for pedestrians, mixed-use housing, old people, young people, rich people, poor people, in a neighborhood with things within walking distance and streets that you'll actually want to walk on. In other words, cities that are designed around people, not cars. Because you know what, kids? In 20 or 30 years, the private automobile where you jump in the car and drive 2 blocks to pick up a pack of smokes, those days are gone. Mark my words. Even larger than all that, in terms of the economy, I want to turn your attention to this book by Chris Turner, The Leap: How to Survive and Thrive in the Sustainable Economy. Turner goes into how your home can actually be a net generator of energy as opposed to a consumer. How some rather desperate cities, in particular one in Iowa, when they went green, when they fully went into a green renewable economy, they came back to life. Germany has a fascinating program for renewable energy. Required everybody to have to suck it up for $50 a year in extra energy costs, but it works. I'm not going to go into all of it, but read that. And by doing that, by reading books like Ken Greenberg's, like Chris Turner's, like Michael Perino's, you'll see the solutions that are out there for the occupiers. Last thing I want to do, let me just grab Amy Goodman's book again, because I have a little time left on the old YouTube video. So I just want to read you a little chunk from an essay Amy wrote in April 19th, 2007 about Howard Zinn. This is just the first few paragraphs. Historian Howard Zinn ascended the stage at renowned Faneuil Hall in Boston on Patriots' Day, the Massachusetts holiday commemorating the start of the American Revolution. The shot heard round the world, considered the first shot of that revolution, was fired April 19, 1775 in Concord, Massachusetts. He spoke about patriotism. What is patriotism and what is it not? Who is patriotic and who is not? Patriotism, Zinn began, is about dissent. It's about criticism and civil disobedience. Not far from Faneuil Hall, Henry David Thoreau, born in Concord, built a little hut on Walden Pond. Thoreau wrote Civil Disobedience, which profoundly influenced Mohandas Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Quote, Thoreau, was arrested for not paying his tax because he was protesting the Mexican-American War, in the way there are tax resistors today for protesting the war in Iraq, Zinn continued. Thoreau went to jail. While he was there, his mentor, the writer Ralph Waldo Emerson, is said to have asked Thoreau, "Henry, what are you doing in there?" Thoreau replied, "What are you doing out there?" I love that. That's a book and a martini for this week. If you'd like to pick up any of those books available, I'd be delighted if you bought them through the Buy the Book review store. I'll probably put that URL too in my own cheap effort to raise a little commerce. Anyway, for those of you who are watching it on the weekend that is shot, but to my American friends and followers, happy Thanksgiving to you. And to all of you, Merry Christmas coming up. Keep the faith. There is hope. That's why we get up in the morning. And in my usual salute to my old friend Tommy Snyder, from all of us who work the late shift, good night, everybody.